There's many people that struggle with confidence. In fact, I've seen that a lot of people, they have a lot of issues with self-worth. And these are connected together, confidence, self-worth, because when you have a lack of self-worth, you have a lack of confidence. Deeper than the self-worth is a feeling of incompleteness. And when there's that sense of incompleteness, there is a lack of confidence because there's no real substance there. So what happens is many people, they try to get confidence from things that are changeable, temporary. For example, confidence from the achievements that they have, confidence from their possessions, the things that they have attained, confidence from maybe relationships, confidence from their looks, confidence from their level of intelligence. But the problem with all of that is that it cannot be, a true unshakable confidence, because those things can change. And if those things can change and your confidence is based on those things, then when those things change, your level of confidence changes. But there is a deeper realization that comes from that recognition of what you really are, in which there is an unshakable confidence that is born. And that unshakable confidence comes in seeing what you are. And it's a specific kind of realization that comes in that recognition of who you are. So for many people, their confidence is this kind of surface level, it's not at the source level. When you inquire, I talk about the 4 questions that you can use to inquire. When am I? What is really here? What am I? And where am I? Through these questions, as you inquire, you start to find that you are not the things that are changing. You're not the circumstantial world. You're not your possessions. You're not your relationships or associations. You're not even the body. You're not your emotions. You're not your thoughts. You're not your opinions. You're not your beliefs. You're not your ideas. You see that there is something deeper, like a direct sensing, or a sensor, if we can say that. Something that's deeper than the senses themselves, because even the senses are noticed, even the senses can, kind of switch on and off. People can lose the sense of smell, taste, touch, etc. So there's something deeper that's always been there, that will always be there. And this direct sensing is non-physical. Everything else is physical, everything else is changeable. This is non-physical, so it's not changeable. And so as you start to become aware of that, you see that this non-physical source cannot be harmed. And the reason it can't be harmed is because it's non-physical. It cannot be got at by something physical. For instance, like the space here, if we were to take a knife and we were to, slash in this space, what would it do to the space? Absolutely nothing. If we took some black paint and we poured it on this space, what would it do to the space? Nothing. So this space, your true nature like space, if we can say that, cannot be harmed, cannot be cut, cannot be slashed, cannot be burnt, cannot be stained. Nothing can be done to it. And so the realization that comes is that what you are is indestructible. Everything else can be destroyed, but this cannot be destroyed. And it's that realization of the indestructible nature of what you are that fills you with an unshakable confidence. Because the lack of confidence comes through fear. And fear is only there when there is the fear of something that you think that you are that can be threatened, that can be harmed in some way, that can be taken away. And as you see that what you are cannot be threatened, taken away or harmed, that it's essentially indestructible, what goes along with that is fear. All the fear melts away. And what remains is freedom. What remains is a natural confidence, an unshakable confidence. Now this unshakable confidence is not a cocky confidence. That's what the ego does, that's what the artificial self does, right? It has a cocky confidence. Often the ego's confidence is a false, fake confidence. It acts confident, tries to be confident. Or its confidence is based on things that are changeable. So it cannot be a true, unshakable confidence. Because one minute it is shaken if something changes. If the confidence is based on looks, then as your looks decline, the confidence goes with it. The confidence is shaken. If your confidence is based on your intelligence and your intelligence declines, the same thing. But your indestructible nature is always what it is. It is permanent. So the confidence that is based on that or comes from that will never be shaken, will always be permanent. And so this is what happens when a being realizes what they are. They step into this unshakable confidence. And so then wherever you go, whatever you do, you have that unshakable confidence because you see that, look, no matter what happens in the circumstances of life, no matter what changes, no matter what is taken away, whether I fail at this or succeed at this, no matter what happens to the health of the body, of course, eventually the body dying will die. No matter what happens, what I really am cannot be harmed. What I really am is indestructible, and therefore there is nothing to fear. And when there is no fear, there is unshakable confidence. The Buddha himself said the secret of life is to have no fear. No fear is freedom. No fear is unshakable confidence. And so then you take that unshakable confidence with you wherever you go. In all situations, in all actions, you have this supreme confidence. It's a beautiful thing. And it's something that many people have not experienced and maybe could not imagine, because so many of our confidence is based on superficial things, on things that can change. So it can never be true confidence. And people are constantly striving to have this confidence. People try to learn how to be more confident, or think they have to do many things to be confident, when really it's just a case of recognizing what you are. Because people do many things to be confident, but if they don't remove the fear that's underneath, it will never be full, true confidence. All they have to do is remove the fear, and the fear is removed when you see what you are, when you see that you cannot be harmed. You know, it's like, if you imagine, if we take this analogy of, which I've used many times, of, you know, a character or an avatar in a virtual world. If you were plugged into a virtual world and you believe that you were the avatar in that virtual world, and you believe that you were, you know, your possessions and your attainments and achievements and your family and your friends and the body in that world and your thoughts, opinions and beliefs, which are all virtual. If you thought you were all those virtual things, and then something happened to those things, or there was a threat to those things, you would be afraid and you wouldn't have full confidence. But if you then realized in that virtual world that you are not the virtual world, you are beyond the virtual world, and that none of those things in the virtual world are what you really are, then what would happen to the fear? The fear would melt away. You'd be fearless. And so a product of that, a byproduct of that would be then that you would have a natural confidence. You would feel free always. So this is the power of this realization. The realization of your indestructible nature does away with all fear and leaves freedom and a natural, unshakable confidence.